this is do or die. Feel it in my veins tonight. Emotional suicide. You know it's an eye for eye. I didn't wanna walk the plank. No, but the Mariona, it came like the thunder. I was on my way to going under. Swimming in the pain, yeah, I was covered in a tidal wave, But I'm a fighter. Try to take me down, I'm going higher. Maybe you've been playing with some fire. You've been playing with fire. One day you will see what you made of me. Found my inner peace. You are peace in the dead of night. Maybe when it's still dark, you know it's an eye for eye. Every energy alive in the dead of night. You can save your alibi. I already know you lied. Oh no, no, don't even try. Watch the flame in me ignite. You didn't wanna walk the plank. But the Mariona, it came. Baby, it was dark, it was hard to see. And that's when a spark lit inside of me. Oh, I was lost from reverie. One day you will see what you made of me. What's inside of me. One day you will see I found my inner peace. You are peace in the dead of night.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our second match of the day. We just had a match between the Pittsburgh Pharaohs and the Las Vegas Vipers off of stream. The Las Vegas Vipers did take the match 3-2, and I just played in it for Pittsburgh, so I'm sad right now. But nevertheless, GG's to Las Vegas. In this match, we have the Atlanta Astro coming off of a win 3-1 yesterday against the Las Vegas Vipers, going up against the Houston Dragons. And this is our first look at Houston. We saw what Atlanta could do. Now we're having a look at Houston. Here are the maps and modes for our match tonight. We have a Hardpoint Tuscan, a Search and Destroy Berlin, a Control Gavutu, and if needed, we have a Hardpoint Berlin and a Search and Destroy Tuscan if we go the distance. The players are in the lobby. They're ready to play. I'm ready to get this underway and see what Houston has against our current top team, Atlanta. They have the most points. They're undefeated. Let's see what they can do. We're going to go ahead and load into the match now. And okay. I apologize. I wanted to make sure that my screen capture was still there because Streamlabs is a pain in the butt. We're going to go ahead and load into the match, everybody. Let's see what Houston can do. All right, we are going to be kicking this match off on board with Frosty, who had an absolutely stellar performance last night against, or 2 nights ago, I believe, against the Las Vegas Vipers. Atlanta are on the point early. It's looking like Houston is going to try and maintain some map control. They're going to come in with a contest now. But it looks like the way they were kind of playing that, just making sure Atlanta couldn't push through the flip spawns for P2. And it looks like so far they are successful, and they are now getting time on the point. Peak is going to have 2 players to deal with coming through on his side of view, and he is not going to get out with his life. Carrier's still alive on the point, though. Atlanta still soaking up this time, and we should see a rotation coming in from Houston, and that's what we're going to see. Sovereign getting the rotation set. He is going to have a challenge coming in from Frosty here. Is he going to be able to deal with it? He is not. Frosty's going to win the gunfight, and he's going to drop down onto the point here. And just as I say that, he's going to drop, and we are going to see Houston back on the point. Peak starting to get on some streaks here. He drops to Frosty. Frosty in the point for Atlanta. Frosty 8-2 to kick off the match. Make that 9-2 now. We have a contest coming through in Atlanta. They have absolutely locked down this P2. And Frosty now on a rotation. But he's not going to be aware that Houston is already here. They're looking at roof. They're kind of expecting the hit to come through there from Atlanta. Frosty playing it slow. He sees a window of opportunity. And just like that, Atlanta doing what they do best, breaking hills. We have yet to see this season a team really having an answer for the breaks on hills that Atlanta has. Their breaking capability has been absolutely fantastic so far this season. We're only a couple matches in, but Atlanta are putting on a clinic and showing everybody how to break a hill in Hardpoint. There's no doubt about that. Houston taking one more stab at this. It looks like they're going to get this scrap time, but they are going to want to think about a rotation, and Peak is on the rotation. Let's see if they can return the favor to Atlanta and go ahead and break their setup here. Frosty takes the first gunfight, and he takes the second, and just like that, we're going to see that Atlanta is going to maintain control of Church. About 40 points ahead here now. Sovereign coming in with a contest. Winning a nice gunfight there. And it looks like we are going to see Houston take control here. Atlanta still getting the close spawns, though. So they are going to be able to contest this and work to break back in with 30 seconds left. Frosty has a couple of players here to deal with at the front. Gets taken out from behind. But Carrier stays standing for Atlanta for the time being. And as I say that, the caster curse comes in again, and he drops. Peak on the rotation here. And Atlanta and Houston still contesting old. Atlanta's going to get the last 3 seconds here, and we're going to be heading into a P5 with Atlanta in the lead. But Houston, they're here. What can Frosty do? Goes for the gunfight, does not win, and Houston holds strong. That is so big for them. If Atlanta breaks in here and they hold that time, it starts to get a little scary for Houston. It makes them have to work a lot harder to stay in this match. And again, as I say that, Atlanta is in. It seems that no team has an answer when it comes to holding a hill against the Atlanta Astro. They break hills at will. Houston still holding the time, and it looks like Carrier's going to come in. He is not going to allow them to comfortably hold this scrap time. Houston is going to take the last few seconds, and they have brought this game closer. Frosty already ready on P1, though. And he has an idea of what side of the map they're going to be coming from. Carrier winning an important gunfight at mid and getting on the point with his teammate here. Houston looking to work a break, and Atlanta stacks up. You hate to see that. They stack up, and Sovereign finds the break here. Let's see if Houston has an answer when it comes to actually holding down the point, though. The pressure from Atlanta immense, and they are right back in. 4 down for Houston. Doesn't look like anybody has any streaks to work with. Sovereign, he does have a strafing run in his back pocket. The contest coming through from Houston, and Houston is on the point, but they're only going to get a few seconds, and Frosty already on the rotation here. Sovereign's here, though. He is in a good position to potentially deal with the contest coming in from Carrier. Carrier going to drop down on the point, not aware of Sovereign's position. A good play from Sovereign there, playing it patient, being aware, not just hopping on the point and giving away a potential kill there. He drops Frosty, and we may have seen them hold, but Carrier is right back in. He's a couple players to deal with here. He deals with the first. He's going to have to deal with the second there, and he does. He drops, but Frosty's still on the point here. 20 seconds. Taking a page out of Sovereign's book there, not just giving his position away. He wins a gunfight. He is on 3 kills now. He could start thinking about some streaks here. Now on a 4, and he's going to get away with his life. Houston, again, just going to take a little bit of scrap, but it has to be known that Atlanta is already prepared here on the next hill. Houston now going to have to make the long hike across the map, and then that whole time Atlanta's just soaking up more time. Carrier staying alive here. Sovereign, the distraction, and Houston has an answer. They have a break. Now let's see if they can hold this time. Currently struggling a little bit. Peak still holding down the power position, though. Gonna deal with Carrier. And Frosty gets dealt with, so it's looking like this hill is going to go the way of Houston, and they are going to stay alive in this hardpoint. It was starting to get a little out of hand, but if they soak up all this time, they're only going to be a few points off going into P4. Frosty ready. Atlanta's set up. Can Houston break this setup? One player does die from top church. Sovereign coming in with the break, doing it himself. And Peak there to pick up the pieces whenever Sovereign drops. Frosty with a huge gunfight, being elusive as ever. Sovereign right back in, wins his first gunfight. He does have 2 more gunfights coming up, though. Peak wrapping around the back, aware of where the push is going to come from. Unfortunately, though, he is unable to win that gunfight. Players still pushing for old here. Frosty winning more gunfights. He is absolutely unkillable at times. Players rushing to next. Frosty's going to be the first there. This is a very important hill for Houston. If they can't hold here, this game may slip. They need to win this first defense here. They cannot let Atlanta break in. And Houston, for the first time in this match, actually going to take the lead. Can they hold strong? They do. Houston holds strong. I'm just going to stop talking. At this point, people, I'm just going to stop talking. Every time I make... Oh, no. Every time I make a call, the other team breaks in. My caster curse is stronger than anybody else's. Sovereign winning a huge gunfight. Gonna get the last few seconds here, and they may have a 1-point advantage going back into P1. Peak here. He does have 2 players in front of him, though, that he's gonna have to deal with. He drops, and it looks like Atlanta is gonna hold strong here on P1. Wow. Guys, this caster curse could not be stronger. Houston holding strong. I do believe if they hold every single second here, they can win off of this. They cannot let a contest come through. Frosty, aware of this, is going to come in. He is going to get the contest. Houston cannot win off of this now. Houston should be thinking about rotations soon here. Atlanta's surely going to be set up, but Atlanta is going to have an incredibly difficult job. Houston's going to be about 7 points off of the win going into P2. They are going to have to hold so strong here. They have to hold this for so long. Houston, they have a good couple stabs at this. And Frosty drops. Peak working his way through top plat. He drops down onto the point. Can he win this gunfight? He does. This may be the map. Frosty's still holding strong for now. He drops. A glide going to come in from Houston to keep Atlanta off this point. Can they break in? They have every opportunity to win this here, and it might be done. Houston takes map number 1. 230 to 250, Houston winning the opening hardpoint of their season. Impressive to say the least. Absolutely impressive. They were looking... It was looking like they were down at the start there. You know, Atlanta was breaking their setups, getting in the hill, doing what they do. But they were able to come through and in the end and pick up the map win. We're now going to be heading into a search and destroy on Berlin. Atlanta, they did lose to Las Vegas the last time we saw them on this map. Let's see what they have done to kind of work out, you know, maybe a different strategy. Maybe they can run the same strategy and see how it goes against Houston, because this is a different team now. And we have not seen the search and destroy capabilities of Houston just yet. Atlanta had their struggles in search and destroy, but it looks like they have a competitor in Hardpoint now as well in the form of the Houston Dragons. Houston battled hard, and they were able to bring that map back. The players are loading it in. Waiting for the game clock to go here. We are going to be on board with Carrier as we load in here. It looks like he is going to have the automaton out. Let's see what we're working with on the side of the Houston Dragons. A first look at their S&D strategies. The bomb is going down fast on B. Atlanta they get onto the site and they plant immediately. Houston is now going to have to work a retake here. Peak just missing out on the opportunity to drop a player from Atlanta. All 4 players still up on both sides here. Sovereign might get in behind Carrier here. I don't think Carrier is going to be aware of the push. And Carrier wins that gunfight, a massive win. Only 14 seconds left. Peak is going to have to work a miracle here. Frosty just staying on site, making sure they cannot get close to that bomb. And with 3 seconds left, that is going to be the round for Atlanta. Well, my apologies. I forgot to put my Streamlabs in performance mode. So we are going to see a slight frame drop just one more time. Still working out this whole caster thing. I apologize. All right, Atlanta up 1-0. Peak, he could start thinking about some streaks. He still has quite a bit of work to do, but that is something we want to keep in mind. And it looks like Houston is going to be bringing this bomb straight to B. Carrier, the lone human player here. So close. That timing, if he backs up just a little more, Sovereign would have been able to find a kill. I don't think Carrier's going to be aware of the plant here. Frosty's still over at A. Carrier looking for an opening to get into this site. And it looks like Houston has this absolutely locked down. Carrier's going to drop. Frosty working in behind, though, and Frosty drops. Houston just checking the bomb, making sure everything is safe. And this is looking like a round going to the Houston Dragons. We're all tied up here 1-1. All tied up 1-1. Let's see what Atlanta can do on the attack. They did start bringing the bomb towards A the last time they were on Berlin, but it was a little later in the game, and it looks like they're going to continue to work this B site for now. Sovereign is going to read it. He's here. And Frosty has the read. He had a feeling a player would be there. Peak looking over the site. A 2v4 right now. That bomb is going to go down. And Peak is going to drop from behind at the hands of Carrier here. And this is going to be another round going the direction of Atlanta. Atlanta on a 2-1 lead. Nobody really close to streaks. We had some players with a little bit of an opportunity at certain points. But so far, neither side has any streaks to work with. Looks like Houston is going to make a break towards B again. Although that miscue on the bomb in spawn is going to give Atlanta the opportunity to break in here. They're going to have control of the B site. They're not necessarily on the site, but they're here already, and that's going to make this job so much harder for Houston. Looks like they're aware of this, and they are going to try and wrap the bomb towards A. Frosty's gotten in behind, though. This could pose a problem for Houston. Carrier is going to drop. What can Sovereign do here? Looking for a pick. Frosty playing it patiently. And that kill is going to make Sovereign aware of Frosty's position here. Sovereign just looking to give no information away. Just looking for the pick. And it looks like both players are going to make their way towards A. You hate to see it. If Sovereign just goes to B, he's going to get a free plant. And he catches the timing. 2v1. Sovereign picks up the round for the Houston Dragons. Incredibly patient play from Sovereign there does pay off. We're all tied up now at 2-2. And it's looking like a B push again from Atlanta. Surely at this point both sides are aware of the B pushes and everybody is going to be here. Atlanta getting that bomb down really fast. Oh, no. Frosty hops off. I think he is aware of players here. A gunfight coming through. Houston are surely aware of Atlanta's position at this point. Sovereign. Oh, does he see the player? Frosty lurking in sight. Carrier still looking over the bomb. No pushes coming in from Houston just yet. They are going to have to start to work something here as the clock does run down. Just 23 seconds left. He is going to get Frosty. He's going to read exactly where Carrier is, but that small magazine of the automaton is still not a problem for Sovereign. He is going to take out 2 players, and with more than enough time left, Houston is going to get the defuse. Houston now has a small advantage here in this search and destroy. Incredible plays coming out of Sovereign right there, winning those gunfights and getting the defuse for his team. He is just a couple kills off of streaks here too. See, are we going to see a patient play from him here? Is he going to work to potentially pick up those streaks? Carrier looking over middle, potentially trying to see if anybody's tried to cross over to A, and the window struggles that we saw from Las Vegas last night continue, now cursing the Atlanta Astro. Frosty's on a really deep flank right now. Frosty could spoil the party for Houston here. Peak made the read, but Frosty comes out with the gunfight win. Sovereign is going to have just enough time to get this bomb down. But Sovereign in such a tough position with a player on either side of him. He's going to get away with his life. I don't know how. A huge kill from Sovereign. Is he aware of the bomb defuse? Is he aware? He's not aware of the bomb defuse. Sovereign not aware of the bomb defuse. That is so unfortunate. Incredible plays out of Sovereign, and he just did not see the player on the defuse. And with that, we are all tied up again at 3-3. Atlanta now taking the bomb towards A. And Houston's not going to read this at all. Frosty coming in nice and slow. That kill, we see an immediate shift from Houston. They are now aware of this. Is Frosty going to get away with his life here? He is. Frosty does stay alive. And it seems like right now Frosty just cannot buy himself a kill. Sovereign's in the point. He knows where Frosty is. And another huge gunfight for Sovereign there, and he does have streaks. Houston now up around, and they do have streaks to work with here. Sovereign making up for the mistake from the previous round, getting his team back in the lead, and he has secured the streaks here. Houston having an incredible game stat-wise on this search and destroy. They have absolutely shut down Frosty and Carrier. Frosty making an aggressive push up through the middle. And he's going to drop to the hands of Sovereign. Houston getting aggressive on this ace site. He did see that player. Maybe not aware here. Kind of waiting to see what happens here. Carrier on a deep flank, but Peak does have that watched. Incredible plays from Houston here. 3 versus 1. This is very doable. Just one player left standing. The bomb is going to go down for Houston as well. And we should be seeing the round go towards the Houston Dragons here. They are going to take a 5-3 lead. And again, keep in mind, Sovereign still has those streaks to work with. He has a lot of utility to get his team in the lead here. Or, I'm sorry, to secure the map. Carrero making the ever so slow approach, but I do not believe he's even going to have time here. And Peak is going to pick up the kill. The Houston Dragons 1 round away from going 2-0 up in the series. Let's see if Atlanta has the ice to stay alive in this series. They are making another aggressive push towards A here. And Houston has kind of set themselves up here to be ready for that. An early investment of the glide bomb coming out of Houston. It does pick up Carrier. Sovereign working a push into the site here. Frosty, the last alive. He has a mountain to climb here. A 1v4 to keep his team alive. He does drop Sovereign, though. And he wins the gunfight against Peak. The 1v4 clutch. Just one player left standing. Frosty with the 1v4 clutch to keep Atlanta alive in the series, or in the match. Absolutely incredible plays out of Frosty. And with that round, we saw the investment of the glide bomb come in from Houston, and it does not get them the result. So Atlanta survives that. What play are we going to see here from Houston? They are going to take the bomb back towards B. Atlanta set up for a potential A push. The call is certainly going to come in that Houston is making the wrap here. Frosty not ready to leave the A site yet. 2 players are going to cross. That's 2 players down for Houston. They are now in a 2v4. And it doesn't look like they're going to commit to either site. Looking for a pick here, looking for an opening. They are going to have to deal with Frosty being on their flank, though. This could pose a major issue in just a few seconds here. Peak with a huge gunfight win there. This just became a little more doable. 2v2 now. And Carrier, with potentially the worst timing of his life, is going to leave the site. As the bomb gets planted, he has to be so confused. 2v1, and it is looking like Houston is about to go up 2-0 in the series here. Guerrero making his approach, some shots coming in, and that is going to be all. The Houston Dragons go up 2-0 in the series here against our current standing top team, Atlanta. Atlanta's struggles in Search and Destroy, they continue. And unfortunately for them, Houston had an answer in Hardpoint as well. Atlanta had some major ice in their game of Control yesterday, though. Let's see if they can rally and have that same ice now. Going into a Gavutu Control. Yesterday's Control was, or I'm sorry, 2 days ago, the Control was a Tuscan, though. We have yet to see any teams, aside from Pittsburgh and Las Vegas, on a Gavutu. We're going to get straight into this map here. Atlanta, they have to come up with an answer here. We are on match point 2-0 in the way of Houston. We may be looking at our very first 3-0 of Season 1 in the DCL here. The players are loading in, and we are about to find out if Atlanta has something deep within them, if they can pull this match back. As it stands right now, it seems they do not have an answer against Houston here. Kicking it off on board with Atlanta. They're going with a standard breakoff here, heading towards A. Houston with the first pick. That is huge. 2 players down now. Carrier stays alive. He is going to get onto the A site here. And it looks like Peak is going to push and apply the pressure already. Although Atlanta, they have 2 players stacked on A here. And this site is starting to go kind of fast here. Sovereign wins a big one-on-one. Carrier still alive, though. Sovereign winning another massive gunfight, and just as I say that, he drops, and Frosty is right back at A. It is looking like the A site is going to go to Atlanta here. Houston just positioning themselves, preparing for B. Applying the pressure already, though. Not going to let them get out of this site easily. Frosty putting in some shots. He is going to stay alive, and it looks like he is going to start to push into the Houston spawn. Peak ready for it, though. Peak more than aware of what Frosty was working on there. Atlanta, they still have a minute and 30 seconds to work with. They are down 5 lives. But with Carrier and Frosty, at any moment they could pop off, and that life difference can shift so quickly. Frosty almost not aware of the player there. Almost getting cut down, and I don't think Sovereign's going to be aware. Houston is not aware that Frosty was in their spawn. He's going to get onto the site now. He does stay alive for now, still capturing that zone. Peak trying to take him out here. He's in a place of stun. And just like that, Peak drops and Carrier's here. Carrier is back on the site. Atlanta's still capturing B here. Sovereign with another massive gunfight win, already 10-5. 2 more huge wins. Less than a minute to go, 12 lives left. if you're Atlanta, you almost want to think about just kind of pumping the brakes here and not letting that life difference get too out of hand. It's only round 1, but as it stands, if we do go to a round 5, Houston will have defense. Frosty working away, trying to bring those lives closer together, and they do. They're only down 2 now. And Atlanta is back on the point. They do have a couple players here. And that site is going fast. Carrier drops. Can Frosty stay alive here? He does not. And it's looking like that is going to be the round to the Houston Dragons. If you're Atlanta, you're not panicking. You're only down 4 lives. And you did lose an offense, which is pretty standard here on Gavutu. Nothing to worry about. They're still going, though. They are not going to let this go, and they might capture it here. That tick is so close. Frosty with a huge gunfight win. Look how close that point was to being captured. That was so close. Houston Dragons are going to take round 1, and they are going to be ahead by, I believe, 3 lives so far. We are going to keep an eye on that life count as this match goes on. No streaks to work with for either side coming out of that first round. And it looks like Houston, it looks like they're going to go for a B push, and I think Frosty is ready for it. Frosty has the read here. Peak winning a massive gunfight here. And that is the opening for Houston to get straight onto this B point. What kind of answer is Atlanta going to have for this? A big gunfight coming up for Frosty. He wins the first. He wins the second. And just like that, Houston is straight off of the point. And it looks like they are just going to have to settle for a push towards A here. Sovereign getting cut down by Carrier. Carrier winning 2 massive gunfights. Keeping Houston pushed back here. They are going to be slower on the exit here, aware of the pressure coming through. Carrier applying so much pressure here, keeping them pinned. Frosty ready as well. Peak wins a massive gunfight, and so does Sovereign. They are going to be able to break out of the spawn trap. 29 seconds left. And they are going to start working on some progress towards A here, but Atlanta flying. Frosty does drop, just Carrier left. He is going to drop as well. And it's looking like we should see a capture from Houston come in here. I don't know that Atlanta's going to invest their resources to challenge this Frosty going in for one more contest, but it looks like Carrier is already set up for B here. Frosty holding down that middle lane. Gonna be hard to win that gunfight with an MP40. Peak in a power position here. And I don't believe Frosty is aware of his position. By the way he's looking at it, I don't think he's prepared for that. Houston taking it slow, setting up a push, but they do have less than a minute remaining to work something here. Carrier does drop, and that should force Frosty to push back over towards the site. He is going to stay up for now. Sovereign working away. He is aware of Frosty's position. He has been holding down that middle lane. Just stays out of sight of Carrier. Carrier aware of that position, taking his time to get there, making sure he doesn't drop and give an opening to Houston here. Well played from Carrier there, picks up 2 kills to defend the site. Carrier staying alive, and with just 26 seconds left, you have to think Houston, they might look for a couple of picks, because I do believe Atlanta is ahead on lives now. Sovereign dropping at ring. Peak looking for a pick here. And with that, Atlanta is going to build themselves a decent lead in the lives department here. They are going to successfully defend 1-1 in the series now. If you're Atlanta, that is a huge round for them. Going ahead on lives and winning their defense, because they are down 2-0 in the map count. This is a must win for them. You almost have to question Houston's push at the end there. They did drop some lives, but they do have an opportunity in this round to take back that lead. And Frosty in the site. Carrier going to be aware of Sovereign. He does win a huge gunfight there. Peak working his way over towards B. He is aware of Atlanta's plans, but Carrier just cannot be killed right now. Carrier on a 7 streak, going to be fully streaked out now, going on an 8. Make that a 9 right before he drops. And Peak looking to apply some pressure up the map now. Atlanta still ahead on lives. Houston is going to have to find an answer in the slaying department. As it stands right now on defense, no reason to panic. They still have a solid control of the map, but thinking down the stretch, Atlanta is just setting themselves up for a win here. Unless Houston has something in their back pocket that they are saving for the right moment. Frosty with another huge gunfight win. They are now going to shift their focus towards B. Houston, if you look on the mini-map, Houston expecting a push to come through the middle here. Peak going to be aware of Frosty playing on the flank. And just as he had an opportunity to take out Frosty, he is going to drop from across the map. Frosty working his way in now. Has 2 players in front of him. And he does not get away with his life there. Houston continues to hold on here. Sovereign, I don't know if he's aware that Carrier is here. He certainly is now, and he is going to win that gunfight. Frosty, always a nuisance, working his way in behind the setup of the Dragons here. Somehow staying alive for as long as he did. Carrier winning a massive gunfight. Gonna get himself on the point now and stop that clock. They're also ahead by 5 lives as it stands. Carrier's attention pulled towards ring, and he is going to drop. The opening for Houston to retake the site here. And Frosty again, just always a thorn in the side, right back, pushing through Houston's middle cut and getting right back on that site like he never left. Winning a massive gunfight against Sovereign here. This site is going so fast. An absolutely massive win for Atlanta here. They could push us to a map 4 now. The ball is certainly in Houston's court now. They're going to have to find their own offensive win to stay alive in this map. Let's see what Houston is going to do here. They are going to look for players to cross. Not spotting Carrier in time to get the kill, but surely he's going to call that out to Peak. That Carrier is at A. Peak winning a massive gunfight. And Houston are going to get straight on to A here. Frosty, it looks like he might just be looking to apply some pressure on their spawn here. Going to leave the heavy lifting of breaking this site to Carrier. Is Carrier going to spot Peak here? He is, but Peak is ready for it. Frosty now over at the A site, wins a massive gunfight. And again, Atlanta ahead in lives. It just seems that Houston does not have an answer here in control. Sovereign, Peak, and Bashir dropping so quickly. Atlanta is laying on the pressure here, looking to close this map out and get to a map 4. Wanting to right the wrongs of their first hardpoint. Looking for redemption if we do get to a map 4 here. Sovereign with a massive gunfight win to help his team get out of the spawn trap. But if you look at the lives here, Houston has taken damage. It was not without damage. And again, just as they get out of their spawn, Atlanta here to push them right back. And with just 20 seconds left, you have to think that Atlanta's going to take this map. They're going to stay alive in the series unless we see something absolutely wild out of Houston here. They do have a player on B. That player drops, and it's looking like we are going to be heading to a map 4. I don't think Houston's going to be able to get there in time. It looks like they are going to accept defeat. Atlanta stays alive in the series here, taking the control in an impressive 3-1 fashion. We did have a match before this between the Pittsburgh Pharaohs and Las Vegas Vipers, and the Pharaohs won this map 3-0. So we may be looking at a future battle between Atlanta and Pittsburgh when it comes to a Gavutu control. Both sides playing the map incredibly well here. It is now 1-2 in the series. And I believe my game is going to crash, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the maps and modes for you guys to look at here, and we will be back momentarily. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we did have a game crash, but we are back for map number 4 here. Houston's still in the lead 2-1 in the series, so this is still match point if you are Atlanta. They have struggled against Houston in the hard points here. Let's see if they can push this series all the way to a map 5. On board with Frosty here to kick off map number 4. Houston, they are going to have the favorable spawn. They will be able to get to the point faster. And Peak going on a flank here, looking to pick off the players of Atlanta from behind. A pinch coming in. Frosty, the last remaining Atlanta player here, and he does stay alive on site right now. He is still alive. Both Carrier and Frosty are in the point. Houston giving the point up a little easy. Atlanta again with their fantastic hill breaking skills coming in on P1. 2 big gunfight wins from Sovereign though. And just like that, Houston are in, but only for the scrap time, and Frosty is already set up here on P2. Sovereign coming in. Both players are just about to find out. Frosty with a massive win there. Excellent movement to win the gunfight, but Peak has an answer. And just as I say that, Carrier trades him out. Atlanta coming out on top so far here. Starting to build a bit of a lead here. Houston struggling to break into the hill. Frosty's already also going to hop out for a rotation, but he does fall. With 26 seconds left, Houston is in the point. They are going to have to be aware, though, of Atlanta going on a rotation. They are pushing through P1. Peak set up to deal with this push, though. Is he going to spot Frosty? He is most likely not aware that Carrier's in front of him as well. And just like that, without even securing spawns, Atlanta are going to be into P3. Some awkward spawns coming in for Houston. Peak does drop, so does Sovereign, and Atlanta, they are looking good to get all of this time here. Frosty trying to stay alive, unable to do so. Houston are in, and I suspect Atlanta's going to be sending at least one player on the rotation while they continue to battle at Old. It is just so difficult to get any hill time when you are up against Atlanta. They are so strong in Hardpoint. But we did see Houston take the first Hardpoint, so we could see them come up with another answer here as this match wears on. They're not going to be aware of Frosty on the flank. Incredible the shots he hits, doing the job of an AR while wielding the MP40. Sovereign looking for him, unable to pick him up though. Frosty staying alive on this point, making a case for the hardest kill in the DCL this early in the season. Houston holding on though. They are back into the point, but only for a moment, and Frosty is there again. soaking up this time. It is just so hard to hold a hill. I know this hill is already a contest hill, but I have a feeling we'll be seeing all season teams just struggle to deal with the pressure of Atlanta when they're trying to hold down a point. Carrier heading into the power position here for P5. Looking to pick off Sovereign here. Sovereign is going to win that gunfight. A little lifeline for Houston here as we are nearing the end of the first rotation. Frosty with yet another massive win and right back into the hill. Trades coming through and Atlanta's still in control. Keep in mind though, Houston, they do currently have the spawns for P1 here. Surely soon a rotation is going to come through from Atlanta, unless they're just going to try and break it from the front. And I'll be honest, when it comes to Atlanta, I don't doubt their capability to just break P1 without the close spawns and to continue to hold it. If I'm being honest, Atlanta is so strong in Hardpoint. Frosty looking to break. He does drop to peak though. Carrier looking to play the outside, and Sovereign is going to be aware of it. Is he going to be able to pick up the kill though? And is the call going to come through to his teammate? Carrier going for the challenge and Sovereign winning a massive gunfight. Gunfight win after gunfight win coming in for Houston. One more win and they would have been good to hold a vast majority of that time. A huge win coming in though for Houston. They are going to break right back in. And if they can hold the rest of this time, they will be right back into this game, similar to what we saw in Tuscan. We saw some early struggles from Houston, and then they were able to bring it back. Slowly but surely, they were able to hold hills for, longer and longer, and Atlanta's breaking ability kind of fell off, and the game slipped through their grasp. Atlanta, though, they are set up here on P2. Peak being so patient with the break here, but Frosty more than ready for it. Two big gunfight wins again from Frosty here in Atlanta. They will hold off the first attack coming in from Houston. Peak looking to work through the back here. Sovereign with a massive gunfight win. And it looks like Peak is going to go on the rotation here. Looks like both players might. It is going to be a race to the next hill. Peak there. But we know what Frosty is capable of. Is he going to break in here? And Peak with catching the Call of Duty timing, and just like that, Atlanta are going to have an advantage coming in to this P3 hill. Frosty locking down the spawns. I don't know if the players are going to be aware. Frosty with the absolute patience. Sovereign has a big 1v1 coming up here. Can he stay alive? No. And just like that, again, Frosty is into the hill. Such a hard kill. Such a hard player to keep track of. But Houston, they do hold on here, and it's looking like they might take the lead. All tied as it stands at the moment, but Houston now taking the lead. They have managed to hold on. Again, we're seeing so many similarities between this map and the Tuscan Hardpoint that we kicked the series off with. Frosty on the rotation. Frosty and Carrier are ready to go here on P4. Can Atlanta hold on and get themselves back into this? Sovereign not ready for the challenge. Peak going to be pushing from the front here. Peak playing this so patiently, but Carrier in such an awkward position, but Sovereign does figure it out. Frosty the last alive here for Atlanta. Sovereign going to try and grab some time, but he is going to fall to Frosty. And Carrier looking to get up into the tower here and pick off these Houston players trying to get close to the hill. Peak does drop. Sovereign does drop Frosty. A lot of pressure coming in though, and Atlanta continues to hold on. They just turned P4 into a money hill. You do not see that often, but Atlanta, they have the formula. Houston on the rotation now. Peak has a couple of big gunfights coming up here. Frosty lurking as he does, looking to be the dagger here. A massive kill coming in from Sovereign to get Frosty out of there. Carrier trying to track down Peak, and Peak is going to win a massive gunfight. Houston locking this hill down. It's looking like they may take the lead here. If they position themselves correctly, they could kind of get Atlanta trapped back and have the rotation for P1 locked down. But as I've been talking about, and I'm sure I'll continue to talk about, the bigger job is going to actually be holding P1. And as I'm saying that, that is not necessarily a jab at Houston's holding ability, but more so just Atlanta being so good at breaking in. Neither side able to get on the hill just yet. Carrier winning a massive gunfight. And Frosty, they are in. Atlanta is in. And they can win it here. Houston is going to have to break in. Sovereign trying to get some shots on, not going to do so. And Peak, it's looking like he's going to have to wait for his teammate now here. Gets the kill, gets both kills. Houston trying to break in here. They are going to go back into the lead. Massive gunfight win there from Sovereign. And the situation's starting to look a little desperate for Atlanta. They are going to have to hold this P2 down. A streak coming in from Peak. Houston just needs 4 more seconds to take this series. A huge gunfight. That might just be the game. 1 more second. And Houston are going to win the series 3-1 here against Atlanta. Almost a copy and paste of the very first series. Houston struggling to deal with the pressure of Atlanta until the final moments of the match, and a switch flips and they hold on to every single second that they need to. An absolutely massive win coming in from Houston, and we are going to see a 3-1 victory, and they will be tied with Atlanta in the league standings. Absolutely incredible match here tonight, as always. Actually, an absolutely incredible couple of matches. As I had mentioned, the Pittsburgh and Las Vegas match was not streamed, but a recap of the week will be coming out here on the league channel tomorrow, and that series will be covered in that video. Incredible matches tonight. We saw Las Vegas pick up their first win. Pittsburgh still waiting for their first win to come in. And we're looking at 2 very strong teams in the form of Houston and Atlanta. Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. We will be back tomorrow again with some more DCL action. And then after that, on Wednesday, we will be seeing the Pittsburgh Pharaohs make their debut on stream for the league. As always, thank you guys, and I will see you guys in the next match.